Hello and welcome to Greenwich Today, a show for students by students, coming to you live from Stockwell Studio. I'm your host, Harry Boyd. Coming up today, we're down on the farm conversing with some unusual guests, and she's got opinions and she's not afraid to share them. Georgia joins us for her weekly rant. But first, it's National Poetry Week here at Greenwich, and we have our very own bard, Swai Jalla, also known as Swai.
Swai on the internet?
Or Swai on the internet. So tell me, when did you start writing poetry?
There was this one English lesson in year 11 where we watched Benjamin Zephaniah perform a nature trail poem of some sort. And I used to hate poetry so much just because it rhymed. Like, that's stupid, but kids, you know?
I know. And like you said, poetry, you used to dislike it, and now...
Yes.
You know, you're doing it for fun. So what is it about poetry that now intrigues you?
Just the short, concise storytelling, plus, you know, how you can experiment with poetry, really.
Yeah, like there's lots of different styles. Speaking of which, how would you describe your own style as a poet? What is it that you do?
Well, most of my poetry is really autobiographical, so it's like taken from random moments in my life. Every now and then, I'll write something different, like I've written 2 on random objects like headphones and a bottle of water. Metaphorical, obviously. And I did a narrative poem about a guy that walks into a shop, only to realize that ivory comes from elephants. And a social commentary about, you know, hate crime.
And obviously earlier you mentioned Benjamin Zephaniah, who's your first poet, that really got you into this. So who are your favourite poets?
It's not him.
No?
That's for certain. There is Rumi, who is this 13th century Persian poet. I like his lyrical flow. Edna St. Vincent Millay, Emily Dickinson, they're both fine. And George the poet. The whole reason I wrote that social commentary was because I watched a video, one of his poems about exactly that, why hate crime should be treated like prejudice, and I decided to comment on that.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, these artists have inspirations, they have muses. Every great artist has a muse.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you?
true. Well, I am the muse.
You are the muse.
Don't you agree? I think you have to have some form of inspiration from yourself. Every now and then, someone will inspire me to, but usually it's me and my thoughts and feelings.
Such as in the Wells Park poem.
Oh yeah, which is about this park that I live near, which represents my feelings about being autistic and family and society judging me and how I deal with it, really.
And I believe you're going to share that with us today, is that correct, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
The floor's yours.
I live quite close by the woodlands, so to speak, so it is quite natural for me to say this. The woodland, inside Wells Park. All the trees and flies and midges. I know this ain't the Scottish highs, but at the end of the day, it's how we thrive.
Thank you very much, Swai. You can catch him live at the open mic night in Queen Anne this Friday. Now, from a desolate park to a farm teeming with life, we've been out and about to ask our furry friends for their strongly held opinions.
We are here at Matchute Farm to conduct interviews with the contemporary animals.
They say never to work with animals. Is it because of their very controversial beliefs? Let's find out.
I suppose.
Are you Labour or are you Conservative? Excuse me, sir. Why did the chicken cross the road? What came first, the chicken or the egg? What do you think about vaccines?
What do you think about the increasing drug use problem among the youth of England? Despicable.
Deja vu. Is there anything to it or is it merely a coincidence?
Do you agree more with the Nietzsche's philosophy or Marxist philosophy? Or perhaps you're one of those Ayn Rand sort of fellows?
How do you wish to be remembered? ...
Be honest, is it racist?
Why do you reckon she left?
Excuse me,
Excuse me. Excuse me. Fuck, marry, kill. Pepper, George, or Mummy Pig. Excuse me.
I tried really hard. I gave her everything, you know?
Sure. Are the allegations true?
Okay.
Why do squirrels swim on their backs?
Deja vu. Is there anything to it, or is it merely a coincidence?
Furry gentlemen, do you have any spiritual and religious beliefs?
Police officers often get called pigs. Do you think that's an unfair comparison?
And she left. They all leave. Do you think I'm pretty? So, as it turns out, animals are very dull, isn't that the case?
Well, isn't that just this new Facebook generation?
Harrison Boyd,
Nicola Maravich Pederin,
signing off.
back to you at the studio.
Thank you, me. I should have worn that jacket for this recording. Now, here at Greenwich, we're very lucky to study on a very beautiful campus. It's not only a lovely place to learn, it's also a very popular place to film. One of the biggest shows to film here is Bridgerton, but it seems not everyone's a fan.
As we know, Greenwich has been used as a prime location for filming. It seems Greenwich students have taken to the series like the Duke to Daphne. But my question is, why? Bridgerton never fails to amaze me. Its feeble attempt at its so-called historical romance is an abomination to all of history ever made. The show is composed of fancy costumes and string quartets to give a nod towards any sense of historical accuracy. And although I love her work, Billie Eilish bad guy on a string quartet is not the way forward in making good TV. The main drive of the show, quite literally, is sex. The show is filled with so much cringeworthy and awkward bonking, it's hard to keep your Sunday lunch down. This isn't your grandma's Downton Abbey. It seems Regency Britain was the place to be if you want to be a teen mum. Whilst Daphne's biggest desire was to start a family, it seemed sex education then was as poor as it is in some American states today. The bits of Regency culture it chose to hold on to were weird, and it's like the producers were like, oh, so yeah, we want Pride and Prejudice, but modern, but not too modern, because it has to be believable. So what if we made it sexy? If we get Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy, but they bang? I hate to break it to you, but this is not original. People have been making period dramas steamy for a long time. In conclusion, Bridgerton is a shallow Regency drama where the sexually repressed are able to free themselves, resulting in young mums, badly made bonnets, and the cause of your grandmother's heart palpitations.
Thanks for that, Georgia. I'm sure the producers at Netflix will be thrilled with that. For those of you who don't hate the series, Series 3 of Bridgerton comes out later this month. Thank you to all my guests today. Join us next time when we have Sir James Thornhill live in the studio with a fine art of potato print demo. Until then, I've been your host, Harry Boyd. Good night.